If you're driving traffic to your site, Google is now looking at what they're doing the moment that they get to the site, how many pages they go through on your site, how long they're on your site for, and ultimately, are they converting? Hey everyone, welcome to Surge. Today we're going to talk about the SEO priorities for 2021. So we're going to primarily focus on e-commerce. However, everything that we're going to say for the most part pertains to both e-commerce and lead gen sites. So Carlo, SEO 2021, right? We know that Google's algorithm is always changing. It's always updating, as well as search intent, right? The way that users are searching for things online is consistently changing. How is that now going to affect your SEO strategy in 2021?
Well, Joe, the main point that I think we need to drive is that you need to be focusing less on the sort of traditional SEO elements like putting your keywords in your headers and reaching X amount of words on a page. And you need to focus really on your core web vitals. You need to be worried more about, is your page running quickly? Or is your page mobile responsive? Making sure that you're ahead of your competitors rather than what we traditionally think of SEO.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're seeing now in 2021, and Google just introduced this core web vitals to Search Console about a few months ago, and kind of gave us a little bit of insight into what they're going to be looking at in terms of their ranking factors in their algorithm. They're going to be looking at site speed as it pertains to user experience, right? Because they look at poor site speed, no mobile responsive, poor user experience. And Google's essentially, they're in the business of doing one thing and one thing only, and that is providing the best, most relevant content and user experience based on a search query, right? So if your site does not have fast load times, if it's not mobile responsive, right, it's going to be very difficult for you to rank organically on Google, because these are things now that are taking a little bit more weight away from just your traditional, keyword, word count, meta titles, meta descriptions, things that, again, like you said, the fundamental old school type of SEO mindset, which is still going to be important. However, now you need to focus on user experience. So what this means is technology, the platform that you're on, your development team, or developer that you're working with is essentially now part of your overall marketing strategy. You need to have developers involved, because a marketer is not going to know how to go in and from a technical standpoint, identify some of the things that are weighing your site down and implement those fixes and implement those changes. And same thing goes for creating a mobile optimized site. So you need to have a developer involved within your SEO strategy for 2021. If you do not, you're going to see that you're going to fall short in terms of where you're ranking amongst your competitors. Carlo, we're talking about site speed and as it pertains to user experience, but really the overarching topic here is user experience and how important that is in 2021. What are some of the other metrics that you need to be focusing on that will then show Google, hey, I have a really good user experience on my site?
Well, Joe, you really want to focus on the KPIs that are going to tell you how users are engaging with your site. The number one KPI you want to be paying attention to is bounce rate, because this means that people are coming to your site and they aren't finding what they're looking for with that search query, which is the number one thing that Google looks at.
Or it's irrelevant, right?
Right.
That page that they're landing on is completely irrelevant. Or going back to site speed, it's loading too slow, so they're leaving immediately without performing any action.
Right. There are other metrics like session duration or pages per session that you can also look at, but the top one that you want to be looking at is your bounce rate, and then ultimately the conversions that go along with that.
Absolutely. So again, if you're driving traffic to your site, Google is now looking at what they're doing the moment that they get to the site, how many pages they go through on your site, how long they're on your site for, and ultimately, are they converting? Now, we mentioned, average session duration and pages per session. These don't carry as much weight, right? Because at the end of the day, if you drive traffic to your site and it's extremely intuitive and the user is able to find exactly what they're looking for and immediately go purchase and exit, obviously that's going to bring down your average session duration and pages per session. So you got to take those two metrics with a grain of salt, but obviously based on the landing page that they're coming in on. However, ultimately look at, is your site converting well? If it's converting well, that is now going to show Google that you have a good user experience, right? So going back to priorities for 2021, yes, site speed is now going to be a priority. However, that falls under the umbrella of user experience, right? User experience falls under the umbrella of ultimately conversion rate optimization. And I think that's where we're kind of getting to in this topic is ultimately your SEO strategy for 2021 should focus more on converting the traffic that is already coming to your site rather than trying to bring in more traffic. And you might say, well, that's not SEO, right? SEO is how I can increase my visibility organically, right? However, if user experience is now going to be one of the key factors in Google's core ranking algorithm, then you want to focus on conversion rate optimization to supplement your SEO strategy in 2021.
Right. Something else that comes to mind when you're talking about user experience and how it relates to SEO, and this isn't something that's, direct user experience or not what we traditionally think of conversion optimization, is organizing your products into categories and having an intuitive navigation and structure for your website. This does two things. First, it makes it easy for people to find exactly what they're looking for. Second, it gives you unique opportunities to target pages for specific e-commerce or for specific product categories. What comes to mind is a client of mine that sells office furniture. They have their office desk category. They have it split into L-shaped, U-shaped, executive, ergonomic, standing,
which all have search volume.
Exactly. And so those, first, it makes it easier for people to find what they're looking for, like I said. And second, I can target and focus specifically on those keyword groups rather than trying to make one page rank for all these different keywords.
Absolutely. And it also makes for a nice, clean content. So when Google is crawling your sitemap, right, they see a nice, organized, clean structure that from a keyword universe standpoint within each and every one of these categories, it makes sense. So there you have it. 2021, focus on user experience and conversions. If you drive more conversions from the traffic you're generating right now, it's going to help you increase your visibility and generate more traffic. All right. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll talk to you guys next week.